So there's a few, if people are looking for the Lions, Sam Laporta was at 94.
This is current.
Kirby Joseph was at 71.
This is current players, not all time.
That's correct, yeah. Aidan Hutchinson was 55, which is mind-blowing that he's at 55. It's almost as bad as Micah Parsons being at 36.
Yeah.
Like, these people need to be drug tested to think that Micah Parsons is at 36. Where do people draw the line with this stuff? Do you think it's done strictly because let's have some fun and let's get people talking about it? I like Budda Baker. I think he's good. Do I think he's better than Micah Parsons? Hell no. I like Josh Jacobs. I think he's good. Do I think he's better than Aidan Hutchinson at his position? Hell no. Is Bo Nix better at his position than Kirby Joseph is at his? I would strongly say no. And yet they rank, for some reason, Bo Nix 64, Kirby Joseph 71. Where do the rankings, do you think, come from?
You know, I've heard that players are able to contribute to this, and then we've obviously seen specific ones from the AP or whatever. But you're right, man. It's completely subjective. You know, if you ask Maz where Micah Parsons should be, he'd be in the top 15. If you ask Stick, he's not in the top 50. So
the top 15 is a little low for Maz. I might be top 5.
You're right about that, Kool-Aid. You're right
three.
about that.
Yeah.
Top 3 dead or alive.
Hold on. Stick doesn't think Micah Parsons is in the top 50?
Maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't think he'd have him in his top 40, but Maz would rather have Micah than Penei Sewell on this team.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's alone there. Braylon Edwards has said the same thing.
Where are you at on that?
Okay.
I'd rather have Penei. To me, Penei is a top 10 player in the NFL.
I think you're splitting hairs, honestly. I think Micah Parsons is that impactful. We all like Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
Yes.
Everybody, okay.
100%.
Jahmyr Gibbs is ranked 27th. Micah Parsons is a better player at what he does, I believe, than Jahmyr Gibbs is. Now, that's debatable because, how many other – Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, maybe Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe the fourth best. I think Micah Parsons is an absolute offensive football home wrecker.
Yeah.
I think he's a phenomenal player. Whether or not you think he's top 20, I don't see how anybody could say he's outside the top 30.
You know how I can say that why I think they're saying that? I believe that Micah Parsons has been misused in that defense for 2 years, 3 years maybe. His rookie year, when they were letting him do a lot more stuff, kind of within his own skill set and the things that he's fantastic at, I've seen them kind of limit what he does, and whether it's dropping him into coverage or what I'm not sure what they're doing to him, but I see a top 20 player, absolutely. I just haven't seen the production from him, and I think it's because he's being misused. So I think that people have a little bit of a recency bias, and a lot of that is, if Bo Nix is even in that top 100 list, it's pure recency bias.
I don't know, man. I mean, he's been in the league 4 years. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, and he's got double-digit sacks every single year.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're misusing him.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well,
I don't think that. I think that's hard for. I've always feel like that's hard for us in the media, and I'm using it as a generic term, not just Anson. Us in the media to say they're misusing him, considering he is that productive. So I don't know their schemes. I mean, he's all-pro first team twice, all-pro second team once. How is he being misused? What more? And if that's the case, he's definitely a top 10 player, for crying out loud. If you think they haven't reached his potential by getting him in the right defensive schemes, he's absolutely a top 10 player.
Well, in his first 2 years, they moved him around all over the place. He had 64 tackles as a rookie, solo, 84 total. He had 43 last year. Obviously played some less games, but
he had 43 combos last year. Last year, solo tackles he had
30.
He had 30.
Yeah,
right.
so 84 total tackles his rookie year. Then that number drops down by 20 over the next 2 years in full seasons. Now, last year, seen 43 with only 13 games played.
But what's his job in a defense? What's his job?
So, as a rookie, they had him doing a lot. He was being moved around as if he was a slot receiver on defense. And what they've been doing the last 2 years, and the reason I'm saying this is because I've owned him in my Dynasty League, IDP League, for the last 4 years. And his production has gone down, and it's mainly because they stopped using him moving him all over the place, and they've mostly dialed him in just as an edge rusher. And I think that Micah has so much more ability to affect the game on so many more levels.
Yeah.
And because he missed 4 games last year, had his lowest tackle count ever, is why he is being demoted to the bottom, top 40 instead of the top 20.
I can't get with that, and here's the reason why.
I don't agree with it either.
As you said, he missed 4 games. Remember this: his second year, he was all pro first team. Okay, he had 13.5 sacks last year. He had 12. He had 13 tackles for losses last year. He had 12. And quarterback hits. He had 26 last year. He had 23. That's his job. Is he good at dropping back and covering people? Absolutely. I don't care how many tackles he has, because I think oftentimes, and let's face it, he's getting double teamed more than he ever did before. All I care about from Micah Parsons is how well are you playing the flat when you're supposed to drop, and how well are you getting after the quarterback? What's your QBH? What's your TFLs? What's your sacks? And his numbers are in line for the most part. I mean, if he doesn't miss 4 games, he's got a hell of a lot more than the numbers I just gave you in all those statistics, and you're not even thinking anything other than the tackles, which I don't care about.
Yeah.
I care about him making his bad breath should be on every quarterback's face mask. That's all I really care about with Micah Parsons.
I do wonder how much of it is the success or lack thereof of the Dallas Cowboys over this time. I've seen a shift, at least with how our players.
Oh, you're saying the ranking. You're saying the ranking.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the ranking is reticent more or less to
Yeah.
the team's success, because we've seen this now in sports, at least with the Detroit tax. We've seen our players here be D-ranked or ranked very low, like Cade Cunningham, 67th in the NBA just last year. They're not making that.
Well, that wasn't
same
at the,
mistake.
that wasn't at the end of the year. That was going into the year, and look at how many games he missed the prior year. So you could understand that, right? I mean, to separate yourself for just a moment.
No, he's too talented.
You
for
can't
that. I've been
separate
on that
Kool-Aid
for a
from
minute.
Cade, just so you know.
Then it's a bad example.
He's a little too
not
close
the
to that
things
one.
No, it's
that
a bad
I was stating aren't happening, but we've heard this with players who were. You look at his rookie season. This guy was rookie of the year, but they didn't give it to him. They gave it to Scotty Barnes, and they said, because his team was better. They said, look at the team success around him. Even though he was a rookie and we knew that Cade Cunningham's usage was that much higher, you could say the only rookie to do the stats, put up the stats he did was Michael Jordan. Now you're looking at Michael Parsons, who he looks like one of those guys, and you're talking about somebody who is a bona fide star to me, a stud. I believe he should be ranked higher,
so you're
but
saying,
I think he's being demoted.
But based off that argument,
based
off that argument, the reason Cade Cunningham was NBA third team a year ago is because of the Pistons' success.
In part, I believe that they decided to tip the cap for also. They said if they are even within a breath of the play-in, Cade will become an all-star. They said if he has the same exact stats, but their team sucks, he's not getting into that game.
And he should have been.
Who said that?
It was several people within the national media landscape, from Simmons to
speculation.
Well, I mean, these are the guys that vote on that stuff.
But let's be honest, he was a second-team NBA player this last year. And if he wasn't a 14-game winner the year before,
third team.
Yeah, but he should have been a second team. And the reason why he wasn't is because they only won 14 games the year before. He missed a bunch of games, and in the NBA for sure, you have to do
20 games the year before.
Well, but
and he played 12 games his second year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If there's anybody else outside of our love nest with the Pistons or any of our teams that had those numbers, you'd be saying, no way should they be ranked higher.
Well, no. Cade's numbers last year, he should have been a second teamer, period. And the only reason I think that he was not any higher than third was because it was the first time he had done it. And the NBA wants to see you do it on a consistent 2-3 year plus
with the
basis.
Team's success. Like I really do. I believe he should be higher, Parsons, but I believe that what we've seen from the Cowboys is not going to.
So just so people are clear, let's clarify one thing.
Yeah.
The second team All-NBA was Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, LeBron, the king of everything, James, Steph Curry,
yeah,
and Evan Mobley.
And Cade had a better year than two of those guys.
Those were the 5 guys.
But Cade was better than both Curry and Brunson. Curry gets the nod because he's Steph Curry.
I don't disagree with that. That's the guy. Brunson, we saw it at nauseum. The clutch plays down the stretch and where his team, he was the best player on a better team. So, again, I think we need to, it's not always about statistics. It's not always about the numbers. We've got to be able to separate ourselves, and we feel like he's ours. Oh, my gosh, he's disrespected. He's not disrespected at all.
But separating yourself from the statistics and looking at the Cowboys' performance is probably why he ended up at 36.
Yeah, at least that's the only answers that I've gotten. I've been able to accept whatever they're going to tell us about our players, but keep that same energy across the board. And right now, you got to ask yourself, what are his stats doing to impact the Cowboys actually having a winning season? These are things we've heard from several players. We can go back down lists of players in Detroit and say, well, our guy got snubbed, but what are they doing to win, actually? What is he doing to impact winning?
15 years of futility.
That's what matters here with Michael Parsons, even if
15 years of futility should not matter one damn bit.
Well, and it shouldn't.
One damn bit.
As Detroit fans, we've seen good players over the last 15 years get snubbed because none of them were sniffing the playoffs. I'm not calling it fair. That's just how they do it with their recency bias when they're making rankings.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who got snubbed.
Not many.
Not
many.
Well, but we're talking like there's a lot. I mean, is it Matthew Stafford? Are you talking about him getting snubbed? Calvin Johnson didn't get snubbed. Who is it that got snubbed from Detroit sports that should have been there because the team wasn't any good?
Well, I mean, whether we as Detroit fans were accurate in thinking that they should have been there, it goes hand in hand. Our lack of success was paired with our lack of superstars. But any time that we had a guy that we thought should have been there, like Zach McKinstry isn't making the All-Star game if the Tigers aren't leading the way in the American League.
But also if he plays well. I guess what flies in the face of that, though, is Budda Baker in Arizona stinks, and he's ranked higher.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is on the same Cowboy team. He's ranked higher. So I don't expect you guys to know the answer to this. This is a very generic question. I'm just saying I think we're kind of grasping at straws here and trying to figure out whether or not, why in the world is this guy ranked where he is? Who's making these rankings? And it really shouldn't bother me, for crying out loud. So I just, to me,
it's
I don't
something
get it.
we can do is grasp at straws because it's something that doesn't make sense to me. Like, it just doesn't. We start to barrel in, and it's just like, we know exactly what Michael Parsons is. We know exactly who Kirby Joseph is.
We know exactly who Aidan Hutchinson is. Aidan Hutchinson's the best player on one of the best teams in the National Football League, outside of maybe Penei Sewell, either one of them, okay? So how is he ranked 55th? And then if somebody says, well, look at how many games he missed last year. Well, that goes back to the Cade Cunningham question of a year ago, okay? So there's very little consistency.
Yeah.
And that's, again, there's no reason to get upset over it. I don't know why it gets my blood pressure a little bit. It's because I don't know how people can objectively, and that's the key word, objectively.
Always.
That one.
How do you do that? Can you do that? Most people cannot.
Yes.
Okay? And I'm not going to look at them and whistle. But most people cannot do that because they're too attached.
Yeah.
Separate yourself. So you think Micah Parsons shouldn't be holding out for Dallas. Maybe you're pissed off at that, and you're one of these voters. So what?
Yeah.
Base it off how good this guy is. That dude is an absolute animal on the defensive side of the ball, and every team would want him.
And I think that you should be upset about Hutch because him sitting at 55, this guy dominated the league last year and literally led the league in sacks for the 3 games that he was out still. So how you can't put him in the top 25, I'm not sure.